So just start to ground ourselves, ground your body here into the room, the space that you're in. So starting maybe in a seated shape as we enter into a brief meditation to kind of ground ourselves before we get into the physical asana portion of the class. Feeling free to lay down for this. So just honoring your body and whatever you need today, kind of starting to tap in and notice kind of what your energetic state is here, and just supporting yourself maybe with some deeper rest by lying down, maybe coming up to a wall and just allowing your back to kind of lean against the wall. So no right or wrong way to set up here, just really honoring where you're at today. And then option here to close your eyes, or option to leave them open, finding a soft gaze at a point. Maybe it's on the ground, or if you're lying down on the ceiling. So just a point that isn't moving, just to keep a gentle focus and attention inward here. And then whenever you're ready, just starting to tune into your breath here. So just starting to notice the rise and fall of the breath in your body today. So we're starting to move from the external busy world, moving to the internal world, and just becoming curious of what's happening inside of you today. We're not judging it, rather just exploring and becoming curious. And just continue to focus on your breath here, noticing the inhale and the exhale. Noticing too if you can allow your shoulders to soften a little bit more. Just allowing the hands to rest anywhere on your body that's helpful, comfortable. And just inviting in the easefulness of the breath. Feeling your sit bones here rooted into the earth. And if you're feeling like you even need a little bit more grounding here, you can feel free to place your hands directly onto the earth. Really feeling that earth energy ground and support you here. And then continuing to come back to your breath, inhaling and exhaling. And taking a moment here to observe your heart space, your heart chakra, and just noticing how is your heart feeling today. Noticing any sensations that might arise or not arise, any emotions that might be coming up in that space for you today. And just breathing through it. So noticing what arises and just being with the experience. As we enter into a practice of mindfulness throughout this practice, we're just entering into a state of noticing what's here. What's here with you today, showing up in your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit. And just allowing yourself to be with the whole experience. Not trying to change anything, but just inviting yourself to be a witness to what's happening. And then allowing your breath to continue to anchor you back into your body. And maybe inviting a body scan here if that feels helpful and supportive. Could start maybe from the crown of your head. You also could start from your root, so your feet up to the crown of your head. And however you want to enter into this practice, just starting to scan throughout the body, noticing any areas that might feel a little tight or tense. Even noticing areas in your body that feel open and relaxed. So we're not just trying to notice the negative or the discomfort, but also knowing maybe the positive and comfort type of sensations and emotions that rise as well. And maybe you feel a little bit of both. So just allowing yourself to be with the whole experience. Whatever is arising here, what is here in this moment for you? In practice of mindfulness. But if there are any areas that are feeling a little tight or tense today, can you invite the breath into those areas? Inhaling in, maybe choosing an intention to use now and throughout your practice. Just a word or affirmation here that will help just support and guide you throughout your practice. Something in the present form, maybe I am healing, I am okay, I am safe, I am peace. So just finding something here that resonates with you and using that intention as a way to breathe in to stress and discomfort arising. And then on the exhale, releasing, letting go. And just inviting this to be a breath by breath process, inviting in and inviting out. And noticing if you're having any thoughts right now, just acknowledging that that's part of the practice. And just allowing those thoughts to pass by, maybe envisioning them like clouds or a movie. So as they float or move on by, we're not getting rid of them. We're noticing them, acknowledging them, but then we enter back into our body just by bringing our attention back to your breath. So coming back to that inhale and exhale. And dropping a little bit deeper inside. And feeling the earth underneath you here, holding and supporting you. So whatever you're releasing on the exhale, giving it back to the earth and just allowing her to support you here and letting go. You could even invite dropping your hands back down to the earth as you exhale. Just feeling that release, that letting go. And from here, maybe starting to invite 3-part breath, if that feels good for you in your body today. You can invite one hand to the belly area, one hand to the heart space. And we'll find our 3-part breath by finding the 3 parts of starting to breathe deeply into the belly, up through the ribs, arriving up at the chest, and then exhaling chest, ribs, all the way back down to belly. So the hope here is to just allow that belly to fully expand out, inviting the breath deeply into the belly as a way to help soothe the nervous system, starting to enter the body into our rest and our digest state. It also signals safety to the body, that it can slow down, that it's okay. So just inviting yourself to go at your own speed and your own pace here, and just exploring what three-part breath feels like for you in your body today. Taking your time here. And noticing if your body can soften just a little bit more. We're not trying to force anything out. Just gently letting go, breath by breath. Inviting in maybe even self-compassion on the inhale. Noticing even if some resistance comes up for you in this practice. And as we come back to mindfulness, we're just coming back to what is here for you today. What are you noticing? What's present for you? Exploring the waves of sensations and emotions that might be flowing through you today, and just giving yourself the permission to just be with those waves, acknowledging that they're temporary, they're not here to stay forever, but using the breath here as a tool to help guide yourself through the waves that you might be experiencing today. And continuing to come back to your breath. Maybe taking a moment to come back to your intention, what you want to dedicate to yourself and also to the class. No need to rush the process, just being with the presence of being. Just being with your stillness. Nothing to prove here. No expectation other than giving yourself the gift of just being present in this sacred moment with yourself. We'll be here for a few more breaths. So coming back to your inhale, your exhale, maybe inviting in one last body scan if that feels helpful. Just to anchor into awareness and curiosity of what's showing up in your body today. Using the breath here as a tool to Release and let go of any stress or tension your body might be holding on to from the day or the week. And then whenever you're ready, starting to invite in some gentle physical sensation back into your body, maybe by wiggling your toes or your fingers. Just inviting yourself to come back into the space and the room that you're in. Really just gently bringing yourself into an awakened state in your own time. If your eyes are closed, maybe starting to gently, softly open them. And then when you do arrive back into the space, just taking a moment to pause here. Just noticing if anything has shifted for you, how you're feeling in this moment. And then in your own time, maybe starting to invite yourself, if you're on the floor, back into just a comfortable seated form. We'll start to move just into a few gentle warm-ups, kind of warming up the back and the spine, just inviting in just a little bit of heat. It's helpful to bring a little bit of heat in before we get into a yin practice, just to help the body soften a little bit more. So if you want to keep your legs crossed, if you want to extend them out in front of you, or even kind of lengthen them, it's up to you and your choice. If you want to sit in a chair even, you're invited to. So just finding a comfortable, helpful form here. We'll just start by lifting the arms up, bringing them down through our heart space, lifting them back up, inhaling up, exhaling as we bring them down, inhaling, lifting up, exhaling down, inhale, lifting up. And just going about this for a few more rounds, your own speed and pace, and starting to move with your breath really mindfully and intentionally here. Taking one last round. And bringing your hands down to heart space. Just a moment. We'll start to bring our hands out, just starting to roll our wrists, our fingers. Maybe we even choose to make our hands like fists and kind of squeezing into them, letting it go, kind of shaking it out. So especially if we've been at a computer all day or sitting, really just starting to release any stress that we might be feeling in the hand. You can even kind of envision like pushing it out of the body. So hands come up, pushing out, bringing it back in and pushing out. And then maybe starting to explore some bigger circles, starting to open up kind of the shoulder area. And everyone's practice is going to look a little different here. So just inviting yourself to find kind of your own free form, organic movement here. Starting to open up our front body, our shoulders. And then maybe starting to find a heart opening shape here. Cactus arms, bringing the arms out into cactus form. Also could invite the hands back behind you, lifting the chest up. If you want to lift the hips up, you could as well. But just coming into a shape here that feels helpful and supportive in your body. Inhaling and exhaling here. Staying here for one more breath. And then slowly releasing. Coming into some seated cat-cows. So either we can start to move back or we can start to move up. So just finding what feels good in your body. Maybe you inhale up, exhale back. But just connecting to your own breath here, being curious about how your body wants to guide you today. What that looks like, what that feels like, just for you on your mat. Taking a few more rounds here. And then on that last round, maybe starting to move the head side to side. Maybe starting to make some bigger circles with the head. So kind of noticing how the neck feels. Maybe even choosing to roll the shoulders as you move the head side to side. So just finding some really gentle, soothing movement here. Inhaling and exhaling. And then maybe from here, inviting your hands onto kind of your upper back area here, close to your neck, and just starting to give yourself a massage. This area is linked to our vagus nerve. So this is just helping to allow our body to slowly start to move into that rest and that digest state, that parasympathetic state here. So just exploring, noticing maybe if you feel some tightness and just gently inviting some heat in through your hands. Some soft, really gentle, soothing touch. Just a few more breaths here, exploring. And then whenever you're ready, shaking that tension out, releasing it, letting go, maybe moving from side to center. So just letting it go, inviting the breath in. And then we'll start to invite in some heat to our hands. So rubbing your hands, feeling that heat energy. And then bringing them onto our face, covering our eyes here. So allowing the eyes to relax here, feeling the fingers on the face, just feeling the heat here, kind of really warm and soothe this area. Just allowing the eyes to gently rest here. And taking a few more deep breaths here. And then next, starting to move to our ears. So starting to just kind of rub out your ears. We have a lot of meridian points in these areas that also help to get us into that rest and digest state. So just kind of exploring the ear area. Maybe making some circles, maybe gently pressing on the sides of the ears. Might start to feel some heat. Maybe kind of pulling the earlobes a little bit. Just taking a few more breaths here. And then from here, we're going to just gently tap the crown of our head. So just gently tapping, moving to the back. Gently tapping onto the back side, maybe moving down a little bit to the neck area. And then starting to tap down our face. So maybe starting at our forehead, starting to tap down the sides, maybe moving across our nose, our cheeks, jawbone here. And then moving back up to the forehead, maybe finding our way back up into our crown area. And then from here, just starting to shake it out, releasing, letting go. Just letting go of that stress, that tension. And then from here, starting to invite you into a seated forward fold, either with your legs crossed or your legs extended out in front of you. Just inviting the hands out in front of you, allowing the head, the neck, the shoulders to hang here. Maybe starting to move side to side a little bit, if that feels helpful. Maybe it just feels helpful to find stillness in the shape. You also could invite a block underneath your forehead here as well to find a little more support, make it a little more restorative. Wherever you're at, focusing on your breath, inhaling and exhaling. Feeling your hands here grounded into the earth. Just taking a few more deep breaths here. And then whenever you're ready, slowly starting to lift up into a seated form, taking your time here. We'll come into a gentle twist, so inviting both hands up to the sky, inviting that left hand onto the right knee. Right hand comes back behind, choosing to look in front of you, maybe looking overneath that back shoulder. And just finding a really gentle twist here, so no need to go into the deepest twist. Just moving into a twist that honors your body today. Inhaling and exhaling here. Allowing the breath to release and let go. Anything your body's needing to let go of today. Allowing the breath to guide that out here. We'll be here for just a few more breaths. And then whenever you're ready, starting to gently come back to the center, lifting both hands up to the sky, this time inviting right hand on left knee, left hand back behind. Option to look in front or underneath your back shoulder. Inhaling and exhaling here. And noticing maybe this side feels a little bit different. Taking a few more deep breaths here. Feeling the effects of the twist on this side. And then whenever you're ready, slowly starting to unravel from the twist, inviting both hands up to the sky, inviting them down to heart center, and then back into a seated shape. So from here, we'll start to move into our first shape. We'll come into on the ground butterfly. So I would set yourself up here. If you have a couple blankets, maybe bringing your back body onto a blanket. You also could just do this without a blanket, but this will just give you a little bit more support. You could use bolster blocks here to support you as well. So we'll be bringing the soles of the feet together, bringing our back onto the ground here. And maybe having blocks underneath our hips here. Another option is to bring a bolster underneath the back, kind of give it some support, bringing the hips or the soles of the feet into that butterfly shape here. You also could come up onto a bolster too on the other way as well. So just kind of exploring here. If you want to use props to support you to get deeper into this shape, you can. And we'll be holding this shape for about 5 minutes. So at any time, if you need to readjust and come out of it, knowing that you always can. And as we move into the shape, starting to create a lubrication here within our fascia. And that just helps to create more internal resilience throughout our body. And just allowing yourself here to just simply go to your edge. So as we enter into these shapes, we don't want to enter into pain, but rather just entering into the point that we feel is our edge. Maybe a little discomfort arises here. And just knowing that that's okay. As we enter into this hip opener as well, we're really working on letting go of maybe some stuck energy here. Pent up emotions maybe. So just allowing yourself to be with this full experience of whatever arises for you. And knowing that if it ever does become too much, you always can come out of it. And honoring your body. And also just giving yourself permission to be with the discomfort when it arises as well. Really using your breath here as a tool to anchor you back into your body. So starting to wiggle the fingers and the toes. If this shape is feeling really nourishing for you today, you also could just choose to stay in it a little bit longer. So just honoring what your body needs today. If you do want to choose to come out of it, maybe starting to take out any blocks or props underneath you. And just making any helpful movement here. You can windshield wiper the legs back and forth, side to side. So next I invite you, if you want to move into a new shape, we'll start to move into a wide-legged shape here. So just bringing your legs out however far is comfortable. So maybe you want to bring them a little bit more in, but if you want to feel a little bit more of a stretch, you can extend them out a little bit longer. So just kind of going to your edge here. You can have a bolster, you could have a block in front of you. There's a couple different ways that you can come into the shape. One, you could just come into it by just allowing the hands to rest in front of you, allowing the head, the neck, the shoulders to hang. You also could just choose to bring the hands onto the sides and just allowing the back body here to gently rest. You could bring a bolster in, and one option here is to bring it onto the forehead, just allowing the forehead to rest here as you maybe invite the hands onto your shins. You also could maybe bring a bolster down and bring a block up as well. So resting your forehead on a block. I don't have a block, otherwise I would show you. You also could bring a block underneath the bolster, allowing it to, rather than having you rest it, the block could actually rest on the bolster, and then your forehead could come down. So just choosing which version of this shape feels nourishing for you. Taking your time to set up here. This is another shape we're going to be in for about 5 minutes. So just finding a comfortable enough shape that you feel you can be in for a few minutes here, but you always have permission to come out, readjust at any time. And coming back, focusing on your breath here. Just allowing your body to soften as much as it can here. Maybe taking a moment here to come back to your intention that you might have set at the beginning of your class, and just reminding yourself why you showed up today. So starting to maybe wiggle the fingers and the toes here. This feels like a really nourishing shape to stay a little bit longer in. You're always invited to. Otherwise, you can start to create some movement with the legs again, maybe windshield wipering them side to side, and just creating any helpful movement here to help you kind of transition out of the shape, whatever you're needing. So the next shape I'll invite you all into is melting heart. So I would suggest having a blanket, maybe even two blankets underneath you, especially if you're feeling it in your knees. Just will give you a little bit extra support here. So melting heart is also known as puppy pose, but we're going to be here for 5 minutes. So really setting yourself up in a way that feels helpful here. If you're also just not feeling this today, just coming into a child's pose here. So either choosing child's pose or melting heart. So you're going to extend the hands, arms out in front of you, forehead comes to the mat. You also could bring the forehead to a block here. So feeling a stretch in the back here. So you can go as deep as you would like. You could also maybe lift the fingertips up, feeling a little bit more of a stretch here, but you don't want to go that deep. Just inviting hands down onto the earth. Just surrendering to the earth energy here. And breathing into the shape. Inhaling and exhaling, just really allowing your heart space here to melt. The name melting heart. So allowing the heart to melt and to rest here. Maybe breathing into that heart space to start to feel a release here of maybe any pent up energy or stress or tension you might be feeling. On that exhale, releasing and letting go. Inviting in a little more softness into the shape. And if you need to come out of it a little bit sooner, you always can.
So slowly starting to gently find your way out of the shape. Maybe finding your way into tabletop, and you could take some cat cows here, even just kind of move the body side to side here. So making any kind of movement that's helpful to gently transition out. So we'll come into one final shape of legs up the wall. So if you're
at home, maybe finding if you have wall space near you, or even if you just have a chair, you can just bring your feet up onto a chair. So setting yourself up for legs up the wall any way that's helpful. Maybe you have a blanket or a bolster kind of underneath your back area for a little bit more of a supported shape here. You can just feel free to come up with no props. This is a really supported shape for our body. A really nice inversion here. So if you want to maybe even extend the legs out a little bit farther, you could. You could bring them together. So maybe more of a wide-legged legs up the wall. But this is just really helpful in recycling kind of the blood, oxygen flow in our body. Maybe even noticing as the heart rate starts to slow down as well. So we're allowing new fresh blood to kind of move through the organs up into the heart space. Really allowing our body to just be in this deep state of rest. And taking a moment here to come back to that intention that you set at the beginning of the class. Really inviting that energy into this last shape, and grounding, nourishing yourself. And just allowing yourself to simply rest here. Nothing to do other than simply being present with your breath. Noticing any sensations or emotions that arise and just being with the whole embodied experience here. So slowly starting to bring some gentle physical sensation back in. Starting to maybe slowly bring the legs back down. Maybe you hug the knees in and just give yourself a gentle hug here. And just taking a moment to pause wherever you're at. Starting to feel the effects of your practice today. And then in your own time, if you would like to choose to end in a seated shape, you could start to make your way into just a comfortable seated shape here as we close out the practice together. So feeling free to keep your eyes closed if you would like, or finding a soft gaze, maybe towards the ground. Finding a way to connect with your heart space, maybe thumbs pressing into the heart space, or maybe one hand or both hands over that heart. And just taking a moment here to honor your heart, allowing that heart space energy to really guide you throughout the rest of your evening into the rest of your week. Our heart knows how and where to guide us. We just have to trust the process. So inviting in a deep sense of gratitude for each and every one of you for showing up today in your own individual practice, but also the collective practice today. So continuing to take this energy with yourself off the mat into the rest of your evening. The light and love in me recognizes and honors the light and love in each and every one of you. Namaste.